Cleveland Guardians bats powered them to avoid the sweep. Cooper Ingle showing some big power. And we've got mock drafts and CBAs to talk about on today's Locked On Guardians.
Parker Messick, Cleveland Guardians. You're listening to Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It was a day filled with power for Cleveland. He had power hitting, power arms, power in the minors, and MLB is trying to flex their muscle as well when it comes to the draft and salary suppression. We'll get into all that in today's show, which is Locked On Guardians, your only daily Cleveland Guardians podcast that's covering your team every day from the majors, the minors, the draft, and everything in between. And if time allows, we will hit on each one of those in this episode. So there's something for everybody. Later on, we'll talk about the CBA proposal affecting the draft. We'll react to some mock draft news. We'll talk a little about the Houston Astros series. The Guardians go to Houston this weekend. Talk about when Cooper Ingle is going to knock down that door with all of his power from Thursday afternoon. And we'll get into the Guardians avoiding the sweep against the Brewers, despite the bullpen's best efforts. That is Jeff Ellis. He has been here for 8 years on Locked On out of the 10 that we're celebrating here. And I've been here for 4. I'm Justin Lada. And we've both been covering the Guardians minor league system and the draft for 19 years apiece. I want to also let you know today's episode is brought to you by Odoo. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that is why you should get Odoo. Try free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. Yeah, you saw quite the white knuckler there, Jeff. You got some power. You got some power pitching from Parker Messick, some surprising velocity. And then the bullpen tried to give you a heart attack.
Yeah, well, I got to start off. Anyone who's watching it is a Brewers fan. I feel like they won't watch today. I got called to the carpet, probably rightfully so. I spoke quickly yesterday out of turn and said the Brewers, this and that. So basically, the Brewers are a good offensive team. I shouldn't have said anything other than that. They have black holes at shortstop and third base, and Cooper Pratt, right? Is it? Yeah.
A lot of Coopers today.
Too many Coopers. I'm getting confused. Listen, I love Pratt when he was coming out of high school. He has not really hit well in the minors, so I was more kind of internalizing that with him than anything else. So I'm not going to really pull back on the Cooper Pratt comments. Maybe phrasing it like he just got his first hit when he's only 2 games in was not the best phrasing. And Christian Yelich, I get he has good numbers, but as he struck out with the bases loaded today, his Savant page shows that he's playing a little over his head. So those 2 things I'm not going to pull back on. But, when you get right down to it, Terang, Churio, Bowers, those 3 guys should be all-stars. And I kind of had forgotten about Andrew Vaughn coming back, even though I live in the Milwaukee area. I was still thinking of Sal Frelick playing a bigger role, who has struggled this year. So I was thinking of 3 black holes. They've only got 2, in fairness to them, while Cleveland has like 9. So it's a really good Milwaukee team. They have had a little bit of an advantage with BABIP, but that's because they hit the ball hard, and they're a team that's built to hit the ball hard. And Contreras, I left off that group, is also, an awesome player. So,
has been an all-star in the past.
And my tinfoil hat conspiracy, and I texted this to Justin when I was watching the game, is that Cade Smith intentionally pitched around Contreras to load the bases because Contreras is scary and Yelich is not. Yelich will expand. You look at the data, and you can have him get eaten alive by splitters. So I felt like maybe they loaded the bases to face Yelich because Contreras, Wild Bill, is a lot scarier than Yelich is when you look at the under the hood data. So fair enough to Brewers fans. But again, for everyone yelling at me, I live in Milwaukee. The funny thing too is the Brewers draft mostly the guys I like. I was a big Yelich guy, Eric Bottoni guy. Maybe not so much Braylon Payne, but yeah. No, it's a tough team, and that's what makes it scary, right? Like every time they turned around the lineup, you're like, come on, you cannot let Blake Perkins beat you. You can't let, these guys here. And, Cleveland had 9 walks to the Brewers 8. It was a lot of walks, but, I couldn't see the Fry home run because I was literally above it. So I was like, is that a home run? Is it not? I couldn't tell what was happening. But the Bazzana and the Manzardo ones were, no doubters. Ooh. And I thought for half a second, the Manzardo had a second one there late in the game. That instead got rotated to third. I really did think that had a chance, but yeah, they kept walking guys and they kept making me nervous. And you sent out your 3 best relievers. Tim Herron made me nervous because he walks too many guys to begin with, and everyone walked in this one. Holderman was a mess, but he did enough. He got the pitch when he needed it. Gaddis got 2 down, and then Cade Smith, he had 2 walks, one of them being my tinfoil hat conspiracy. but he's the most dominant reliever in the American League. Let's just be honest. Like I told my daughter who was at the game, first Guardians game ever. She's in the now. Like she wanted to record with me. So first Guardians game ever in person. And I told her, I go, I think right now on this team, the best player is this guy on the mound, Cade Smith. He is their best player right now. And she's like, what about Jose Ramirez? I'm like, well, he's hurt. So that wasn't the first player. The first player she asked is, where's their catcher, Bo Naylor? Apparently that's the name. So I had to go back and explain the trade. But then she asked about Jose. So I was explaining where he was. But yeah, I mean, I think Cade Smith is the best player on this team, full stop. Like right now, Cade Smith is their star player. And maybe you don't want that to be your closer, but it's also, I was white knuckling this whole game. But when Cade Smith came in, I just kind of leaned back and was like, okay, we're in good hands.
Yeah,
like,
well,
you know, I even though his face is loaded and the walk, I mean, I don't know. I feel very safe in Cade Smith's, what I assume are giant mitts.
Yes, they are big hands. I've shook his hand before. It's a very large paw.
To throw a good splitter, you got to have huge hands.
Yes, that's the only way you can do it. I remember people in the splitter back in the day wouldn't throw, or last like 10, 15 years ago, wouldn't throw splitters because they said it causes.
I mean, I wasn't allowed to throw it as a kid in the 90s. Like that was one of those pitches that was like splitters and curves will blow your arm out. Now it's just like you're going to blow your arm out no matter what.
Guys like Roger Clemens had one. But you have to have big hands. Yeah, that's what they figured. Is the guys with the big hands can do it. But for a while, like it was not in vogue because they were worried it was going to cause Tommy John. But yeah, Parker Messick, wonder where that velocity came from. He was electric. Had some control problems himself, but was able to work around that a little bit. And thank goodness for, was it 4 solo home runs in this game? Is that what got it? Or was it 3?
3
solo home runs.
And then, gosh, I'm trying to think. It's because it was a solo home, and then Didn't they manufactured something?
Oh, it was, the last one was a wild pitch. It was. That's
right. It was the manufactured wild pitch.
But that was a good inning. You know, they had the Quan walk, and then.
Quan had a walk and a single, and he pinch hit in this game. And we didn't even talk that Watson made his debut. It was not great at the plate, but great defensive play.
Right field, and they needed that at the time for sure. It was that had been the big issue for the Guardians in the series. Is their starting pitching or should say starting pitching because Slade Ciccone was fine, but they've had the big inning. Like Gavin had the big innings, and then Parker was trying to avoid. The bullpen had big innings too on Tuesday in the series. So that swing though by Travis Bazzana, my goodness, 80-mile-an-hour swing. And we talk about swing speed, fast swings. You want to get over 75 as often as you can. You don't need to get to 80, but you need to get to 75 or over as much as you can. That was an 80-mile-an-hour swing. By the way, Cleo Watson today also had a 78-mile-an-hour swing. So love the bat speed from him there. We'll see if it translates. But I saw on Twitter, too, from one of the driveline guys that 80-mile-an-hour swing from Bazzana that was a home run, 400 feet, by the way, 106 off the bat. Wasn't even as fast of the day. It was a 85-mile-an-hour swing on a foul ball earlier in the game. So he was looking to do some damage in this one. But yeah, he had a Manzardo home run, which was really nice off of Joe Kunal, who's been an alien since he got to Milwaukee.
Yeah, at like 5 miles an hour the minute he showed up. But I mean, that's what happens. Leaving Oakland, who can't develop, to Milwaukee, who can.
At least not pitching. Yeah, and then the home run by David Fry was really important, and having him in against that tied the game up immediately after 1-1 the bottom of the second. Yeah, that was nice to see right away. And then the two runs they scored in the 7th inning that put him up. That was the first lead they had all series. That's the only lead they had in this series. So, yeah, the bullpen it could have been better. I didn't need to have to take so many times, but Tim Herron did what Tim Herron does. He got 2 outs. He walked 2. Holderman could have been better.
Yeah,
Hunter Gaddis could have been better, and Cade Smith could have been better too. But I also will say I applaud Stephen Vogt for coming in and getting him for a 4-out save. Like I know you don't want to do that too often, but he hasn't pitched in this series at all. You needed the darn win, and it was just time to make that call and live and die with your star player, as Jeff says.
Yeah, and let's also be honest too. When you go back over this series, I had to make that apology at the front because I was wrong. When I'm wrong, I'll admit it. It's like this Milwaukee offense is really solid. 2 of the games they held them to 2 runs. That's pretty impressive for the staff. This is a tough offense. In 2 games, they only scored 2 runs. They lost one of those because the offense only got 1 in that game. But in 2 of the games, they held it really tough. It was by the skin of their knuckles, but they did it. That also speaks to just kind of the pitching staff throughout this series overall. Outside of the in-between game where they got tattooed. But, the other 2 games, they did a really nice job of limiting.
Pitcher on the staff, in theory. Yeah, which
Yeah, I mean, and I was going through like the great hitters. I didn't even mention Garrett Mitchell because he didn't start today, who has been Murakami with bad launch angles. Like that's
and great defense. Yeah,
and great defense. Like I will continually and always, and it's a bit selfishly, root for Guardians Brewers World Series. I know that's not what MLB wants. They will sacrifice. The front office will be doing sacrificial to every like pagan deity they could think of to avoid that matchup offerings. But it'll be fun. Two good, well-built teams, great front offices, and two great cities.
Yeah. A lot of home runs in this Guardians game, but there were a lot of home runs in Columbus. Everybody wants to know, when is it time for Cooper Ingle? We'll talk about that next. We all know baseball players are routine-oriented, very superstitious. Heck, I even change my jersey the next game I go to if the team loses, or I keep wearing the same one if they win. I stick to that same ritual all the time. Consistency does matter. And when it comes to hair thinning, there's a lot of products out there that will make you promises, but will not always have the most confidence behind them. That's why more people are looking for solutions backed by real science, trusted experts. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand and the official hair growth partner of Major League Baseball. What really makes Nutrafol stand out to me is that it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's designed to fit into your routine, and it addresses the root of thinning hair with personalized solutions for you. You want to look your best. You want to feel your best. You got to take care of things. You got to get it done the right way, and you've got to trust that there's science and evidence behind that. It's going to help you find out why Nutrafol is the only hair growth supplement brand trusted by Major League Baseball for a limited time. Nutrafol is offering you, our listeners, $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you visit Nutrafol.com and enter promo code LOCKEDONMLB. And of course, it's summer. You don't want to have FOMO missing out at events, whether it's a Guardians game, whether it's a big concert that's coming to town, any kind of event you want to go watch it live. It's way better in person. The problem is getting tickets can feel like a grind. When it's a big event, you can get stuck in a long waiting room. Anything else, you can get surprise fees and prices jumping at checkout. And that is why you need Game Time. It is the app that gives advantages back to fans like us with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences with just a few taps. Very simple to use. The Game Time guarantee means you get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. And the best part is the fees are included. So the price you see is the price you pay. 2 taps, you're done. No stress, no hidden fees. Great seats to whatever event you want to go to in just minutes. Makes it easy to go find tickets to any event last minute. Get the best price. Don't stress out about it. I know my wife's going to see Benson Boone later this year thanks to Game Time too, and those tickets incredibly pricey. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets and any event tickets with Game Time. Download the app. Account is locked on for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account. Use code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Appreciate all of you making Locked On Guardians your first listen today and every day, wherever it is that you are getting podcasts. Appreciate everybody who's tuning in, and whether the Guardians aren't scoring runs, whatever's going on, we are here for you every day, and it's more fun when you're here. So check out the Everydayer Club. That gets you access to ad-free versions of the audio episodes every single day, and it also gets you access to the listener private chat over on the Discord with Jeff, myself, other Guardians fans, other listeners of the show, and there's a channel for every Locked On show with fans of their own as well, so you can interact across the network at lockedonguardians.supercast.com, or check the link in your show notes to learn more. So, of course, I got to be careful more. Maybe I didn't post all of them, but I posted the last home run Cooper Ingle hit. He could have had 4. He could have had 3 home runs, by the way. Or he did have 3. He could have had 4. He just missed a home run on his 3rd hit of the day. It was a double. None of those were Huntington Park homers. Like, we also got to say too, Cooper Ingle is not going to be a guy who comes up and hits 20 home runs. Like, that's just not who he is. So that's great in all what he's doing. The home runs he hit today were 357, 342. So I think 2 or 3 homers for sure are home runs in Major League ballparks. Doesn't say for sure. The last one he hit is the most important one that I think we should talk about. And that's the 401 foot opposite field home run he hit off of Yankees relief or I guess he was a starter. They put him in the bullpen because they think they're going to need him later in the year. It's Carlos Lagrange. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I think so. 98 mile an hour fastball, nearly 99. Cooper only hit at 99 miles an hour, which is not, special. A lot of major leaguers can do that, but it's not a bad hit either. But he hit it 401 feet the opposite field. That's what you want to do with that kind of pitch. And again, we can't sit here and say like Cooper Ingle is going to be a power hitter because he's not. But the fact that that is in there is something Cleveland needs and something it's exciting to see. I also don't want to overreact to like all the home runs, because the other home runs he hit today were off of Alexander Corniel, and Alexander Corniel is not a good minor leaguer. Like he's pretty bad. 24 in AAA, and he just has not been good this year, and he's barely pitched this year in AAA. I think he's just coming back from injury. It looks like he's only made 2 appearances. So, actually, he's been at all 4 levels. But they got him from the Brewers. He was not good last year. Yeah, he had good numbers in AA. We know there's a gap between AA and AAA these days. I don't know. Either way, not the same level as Lagrange. So I think we want to be careful not to overreact to some of that stuff and say, well, he's hitting 3 homers in AAA. He has to be called up. I do think he has to be called up, though. Like I do. I know we talked about this the other day. It'd be weird to send Petey Halpin down after a couple of days, but you got to make room on the roster for Cooper Ingle at some point. And it's frustrating that he played catcher today. Like, I know they want to keep that alive, but his avenue to the big league club here is not catcher. It's never going to be catcher. It's got to be the outfield. Quan in center or Schneemann in center, Cooper in left, Watson in right, mix in Fairchild if you have to, send Schneemann to the outfield when you have to. Maybe Arias can play the outfield, but who knows? But it's such a much better proposition than it is to have like Fairchild. I know everybody wants to get rid of Fairchild, but like Cleveland values the platoon advantage, and he walks more than Halpin. I can't believe I'm saying this. Maybe he is actually more valuable than Halpin, even though it's 6 of one, half dozen the other.
It's basically the same thing. Yeah, I can't be the only one who after watching all those home runs couldn't help but think like, did a sick kid ask him to hit those home runs on his way to the Denslow Cup? If you get the reference, you can comment below. Because I mean, it's Cooper, right? Like that's
Cooper. Is it Coop Cooperson or Coop Cooper?
I think it's Coop Cooper. I own that movie, so I should know. Joe Cooper, but yeah, he goes by.
Is it Joe Cooper? He went by Coop Cooper. Yeah,
Coop Cooper in the movie. You have to look it up if you don't know. That is a movie I do own. So when I saw Cooper hitting like 3 home runs, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna. That immediately popped in my head. Like, so here's the thing: we don't know what Cooper Ingle is going to be. Like, there's a lot of reasons to doubt him. The same reason there's a lot of reasons to doubt Watson. These are guys who are not as clean of prospect profiles as Delauder and Bazzana, but like those are also profiles that are like top 25 prospects in baseball. You gotta take some gambles on some guys with some risks. I think Ingle's a better prospect than Watson, if I'm being honest. So at this point in time, it's like Ingle, he's not gaining. We talked when we had our big angry debate with each other. It's like, what is he working? Like, Ingle isn't working on anything in AAA. He's just murdering pitching down there. And those baseball
left field. He's working on playing left field.
He's working now.
When he does play left field.
Yeah, and we have seen this team put guys in left field and center field who have never played there before. So I'm also not that as concerned with it. So yeah, I mean, he should be playing left field every day, and he should be up like immediately. And listen, we weren't saying push it necessarily for him before because we were like, there's things defensively to work on, and you had some other pieces there aren't right now, and it's not just.
Injuries are dictating this.
And it's not just Halpin and Fairchild. Let's also be honest. Like, okay, so Quan had a decent day. Quan is the same guy as those other 2. All 3 are the same. You have a redundancy that is so deep, and you don't need all 3. You just don't. And Schneemann, to a degree, is them as well. Like, we don't need 4. Now, Schneemann runs back. I think actually is the best runner of all of those guys. I think he's faster than Fairchild. I think he's faster than Halpin. He's faster than Halpin. We looked that up earlier this year by sprint speed.
I think he did.
Yeah. I don't know if he's faster than Fairchild. I'm pretty sure he's faster than Quan because Quan's sprint speeds have gone down every single year he's been in the big leagues. But like Schneemann is here to stay. Like that's not. But you have so much redundancy there. Go get Ingle. Like that's going to make you better. Capus is having a rough year in AAA. Like he's not ready for the call up right now. or
They're
maybe
about
he
even.
is.
They're all about the same runners, by the way. They're all about the same.
I know.
All
And
three.
then, Ralphie is struggling. Like he's hitting like 220.
He's just not ready anyway.
He's not ready.
Like,
he needs time. And that's the thing. He just needs time. Like, I'm not saying he's struggling. He's a bum. I'm just saying he needs time, like adjusting to that level. It's a different baseball. That can be an adjustment for hitters and pitchers. So yeah, it's Ingle's today with just an exclamation point on it with the way he played. He's not hitting 400 anymore. I don't even think he's hitting 300 right now anymore. He's had some of that stuff kind of come back to earth, but like the overall, what he has done, the high level of production, and every single level he's been at, he's produced. So why not? Especially with these injuries, I can't watch back-to-back Kwan and Fairchild or Kwan and Halpin. I can't. That is painful. That is painful to do.
Yeah, I will give kind of a counter argument on calling up Cooper Ingle. There are some. It has nothing to do with Cooper Ingle. It has more to do with where the Guardians are at. So I'll talk more about that in a second. We'll get into more Cooper Ingle. I certainly would not call him up to play in Houston because that left field wall can psych you out. I get psyched out at a baseball game. So we'll chat on that.
Well done.
I was waiting to throw that in. We'll talk about that. We'll talk a little about the Houston series coming up. We'll also talk mock draft reaction and CBA proposals that stink. Clear, consistent communication is so important in life. It's so important in business too, not just people, but systems. And you don't want to run your business trying to connect a bunch of systems that don't work together. You don't want to have an app for accounting, inventory, sales, and none of those talk to each other individually. That is where Odoo comes in. Odoo is a all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory marketing, everything is going to work in one place. It helps your team move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing your business instead of managing different pieces of software. The best organizations, the Guardians especially, know that success is not always just about talent. It's about having everybody working towards the same goal. And it's true in sports, just like it is in business. The Guardians are looking for that right combination right now, and everyone has to figure things out, line up construction, and working together and find things in the same at-bats in the same innings. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that is why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. We are in the middle of the summer. That means lots of things going on in baseball. And right now, whatever's going on across sports, whether it's soccer tournaments or baseball, you can trade every game on Kalshi. You can trade every single game, every single opportunity out there. If we're looking at AL Central Division winners, believe it or not, the prediction market still favors the Guardians. They're trading at a 46% chance to win the division right now. So everybody who is going in on the Guardians, they believe that the offense will be rebounding. They don't believe in the White Sox. They certainly don't believe in the Tigers either. You could put $100 down the Guardians right now and buy into that position of them winning the AL Central, and you could get back $213 total on Kalshi because you're trading against peers in a live market. There's no house, and as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position for a little bit of time. Download the Kalshi app and use code LOCKEDON for $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI. Kalshi, trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Then contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. Sit back, relax in your lazy boy, and download. Hit the auto download button on all your audio platforms to get the show in your feed on your favorite podcast app, wherever you are. Hit the bell on YouTube to get notified of videos. Subscribe on YouTube too, so you know when all of our videos are coming.
And they just beat the Milwaukee Brewers, so it all works out.
Yes, the Beers. Yes, that does work out. Evil.
You're excited. No, I'm not going to say that line on here.
No, we can't do that. All right, let's talk a little more Cooper Ingle here before we move on. So, two things. So, the defense does still matter here in left field. Like, it's just frustrating that he is not playing left field more because that seems to be the only thing that would stop. Everyone's like, what's stopping him? It's like, it's the fact that he's not going to catch up here. He's going to have to play the outfield, and they're not doing it as often. And the reason you traded Nolan Jones and you ended up DFAing George Valera was to open up outfield opportunities. And some of that was before and some of that was after all your major league injuries. The other thing is, like, I think it's important not to let injuries dictate things on prospects. Like, not that Cooper Ingle's not ready for the challenge. Like, he's clearly proven at this point. But you also want to say we don't want to have the moment, have the injuries dictate, like, okay, we're going to – because you're not really rushing him. Do you see my point, though? Like, you don't want injuries to dictate the plan for certain guys. If these injuries weren't happening, we wouldn't be talking about this. I definitely wouldn't call him up in Houston because that ballpark is strange. A lot of guys have a hard time. It's a very short left field wall, but I also wouldn't want to play left field in Houston to start. Like, Cleveland's hard enough at left field. Houston's really goofy, even though there's a lot less ground to cover because of the Crawford boxes. But yeah, that's kind of my only theory is Houston and defense, and you also maybe want to be careful about not relying on too many rookies too either. Not that he could.
I'd rather have rookies than that.
Yeah, you know what?
About.
Never mind.
I mean, Halpin's a rookie as well. I mean,
I take it back. Never mind. Doesn't matter. Rookies don't. It doesn't matter. He should be up. Never mind. Yeah. Also want to say too. Yesterday, I said that thing about Cleo Watson, and I could have phrased that better too. Some things are more important than winning, so I'm glad his family was there for that. I don't know if they were or weren't there on Wednesday, but it's important that they're there. So some things are more important than winning. I was just saying, like.
We had some frustration. We all have those.
They need to get better players in the lineup, and that includes Watson, that includes Cooper Ingle. Pitching matchups in Houston, so you've got Tanner Bybee and Tatsuya Mai. Be really curious to see how that one goes because Cleveland faced two awful pitchers in Gasser and Sproat, were dominated. Mai's got a lot of hype and top-tier stuff, but he's been pretty crappy this year for the most part. Now, since he's come back from the minors, he's been better. We'll see how good he is. You have Spencer Arrighetti, who I think made his first start of the year against Cleveland back in Cleveland when the Astros came to Cleveland, and we were like, oh, they should hit this guy, and they didn't because they struggled. That's Joey Cantillo.
I thought he's been okay this year. Am I wrong with Arrighetti?
Well, I think he started the year in the minors with them, and then he got called up because they had a lot of rotation injuries too. He's got a 381 FIP, so yeah, he's not bad. And then Sunday, it's Kai Wang Teng versus Slade Ciccone. I don't know anything about Teng, so we'll have to see how that goes. But this is another scary lineup you're going to face. You've got Pena, Alvarez, Walker, Isaac Paredes can do damage. Altuve's okay. Cam Smith's been hot lately, I think. It's still a scary lineup.
When I looked at my data for like who's been the worst hitter in baseball over the last like calendar year,
I think Cam Smith has picked it up in the month of June.
List. So.
He's got a 93 WRC plus in June, so it's an improvement.
For him, that's picking up from where he's been. I mean, I feel, and I like Cam Smith. I feel bad. I mean, Houston rushed the crud out of him. Like that's there's no like they might have damaged who he can be as a player by, hey, we traded Kyle Tucker. We got to put this guy in the big leagues, and it hasn't gone great. Like he got unnecessarily rushed. He was a draft eligible sophomore, I want to say too. I don't even think like he was like a guy who had 3 years of college. Like they really rushed him, and I feel bad for him in that regard. But yeah, it's a dangerous lineup. Their pitching isn't great. Their bullpen is pretty weak, and their team.
I mean, Hader's back. King's been good. I think Abreu's been better as of late.
Has he figured it out finally? I could be wrong. I could easily be wrong.
Okert. I mean, they have 3 lefties. That's going to be tough.
Okert's been okay. Like for a guy who bounced around as much as he bounced around.
Oh, never mind. Abreu's got a 692 FIP. He walks everybody. So yeah, but Hader's back. Okay. I like King, and then Okert. I don't know, and they have old friend and De Los Santos still kicking.
For a while, he was like their second or third best reliever. So
272 FIP. So yeah.
Like he's
gonna be a tough series, but hopefully you can take 2 out of 3. I think I'll be happy again, just not being swept, given where the Guardians are.
Reynel Delgado's got a 145 WRC plus for them right now. Old friend.
In what, 2 games?
Yeah.
2 games?
I mean, that's the thing. This is like all the old guys. Like Cleveland didn't trade for Taylor Trammell, but he was part of a trade that Cleveland was involved in. He was in that series. Yanner Diaz. Who was Daniel Johnson was in the last series as well. It's definitely a lot of. But I mean, this is. It's a tough lineup. I'm not as afraid of their pitching, but like this
offense, he might have to be.
Yeah, but the thing I'll say, it's like when you look at their lineup, like Milwaukee doesn't have a Yordan Alvarez because no one has a Yordan Alvarez. Like he's a cut above, right? Like, but
Mhm.
like I think Milwaukee's lineup scared me a little bit more on paper than this Houston one. So just a little bit more.
They're both tough. They're just both
They're
tough.
both tough. Yeah.
Now you said, and I think you said it correctly, to be honest with you. The Brewers have some soft spots, and somebody commented everybody has a soft spot
Yes.
in the lineup. Cleveland has a lot. Brewers have a few. The Astros do as well. I mean, if you look 7 through 9, I don't think Loperfido is great. Diaz has not been great since that rookie year, and Jake Myers is not out there for his offense. I don't believe, is he?
No, last year was a BABIP year for him. He is struggling
and
this year.
Diaz has not recreated his 2023 season.
No, I mean, Diaz and Myers have been about as good as Stephen Kwan this year, just to give you a baseline. And Zach DeZenzo, who I don't even think is up right now, who they're counting on for big stuff, is also.
So they probably have more holes in their lineup than the Brewers did.
Yes.
The Brewers
that's why
1 through 9 than the Astros are.
Yes, I agree with that.
Let's end today's episode on the college and draft notes. So real quickly, maybe we'll push the CBA off till next week. The long and short of the CBA thing is Major League Baseball proposed that they cut the draft to 12 rounds and make it so only college players can get drafted. That would be stupid. That would hurt. It would hurt the product. It would hurt the players. It saves the owners money. That's the long and short of it. It's a crappy position, and hopefully the MLBPA is strong.
They won't fight it though.
Yeah, MLBPA is good at protecting their own. They don't necessarily care about future generations. That's the problem. So far, the PA has said it was a bad proposal, and they don't like it right now. But that doesn't mean that's where everything you hear right now is posturing. Doesn't matter if it's the PA or the owners. Everyone's posturing for this and that. These negotiations, these things that are coming out in public, are just beginning, and none of it can be taken too seriously. They're trying to find a way to, push their agenda and then maybe somehow meet in the middle.
What I do feel like, just because we got time because of the ads today.
Sure.
So like, I'm not too worried, but just to kind of do my response to it, two big feelings on this. One, I don't like the idea of everyone going to college. Now that feels like on paper, like it's great for the college game. The college game has not been good at development for the last, they've gotten a lot worse, and they're not focused on development. So trying to shuffle that off to college is just asking for more incomplete guys. Players are moving up.
More injuries too for pitchers. By the way.
And the focus is not on the player. It's on the win. It's never on the player. Now you can also say like, hey, isn't it advantageous to develop to get a lot of picks? Yeah, it can be, but then we've seen it come in waves. Like we've seen programs kind of as, it never is consistent. And the other thing I'll say is I don't think they're that serious about that part. I do feel like this is we'll come at you with this, that, high school kids can't get in the draft, because that would look really bad if they let that happen. And that we'll drop the 12 rounds, which might actually happen, unfortunately, which would stink. I'd hate it, but that could happen. Justin hates it so much he's off screen. But I think that specifically high school kids not being allowed, because that goes against like so much of the history of the game and like so many things like that I feel like that is posturing. Maybe not so much for the cap, but I think they do want to get their international draft. And I feel like at the end of the day, they're like, okay, we can get rid of this to get to the international draft.
The international draft came very close the other year, the last CBA.
They had to give up. Then there would have been no qualifying offers.
Well, that's what MLB players wanted. They want the qualifying offer gone.
Yeah.
They weren't willing to accept a international draft at the time to get rid of it. So,
which is weird to me, just because the way they typically operate, it feels like exactly the type of thing they would typically be okay on.
Hopefully they won't this year. They won't give in. I hope they don't. The 12-round draft, I think maybe they'll meet somewhere and it's like 15. I don't know. Split the baby a little bit. I don't know. Let's react to drafts real quick. So, first off, I don't want to react to it too much, but Kyler McDaniel from ESPN had a mock, and it was more of this is what I think teams should do, not what I think teams will do mock, which guys will do, to just mix up the content, talk about players, and go through their big board, all that kind of stuff. And he got Chris Hacopian from Texas A&M to Cleveland at 19. You and I both don't think he'll be there. He is slipping a little bit, you thought, but I still think he's too good of a player to get there. And also, as much as I would like to take him if he was at 19, I don't know where his future position is. And he's also a right-handed hitter. We just both know Cleveland doesn't take right-handed hitters in the first round.
I mentioned this. The last time they took a right-handed hitter in the first round was Danny Peoples in the late
right-handed
90s.
college hitter.
Right-handed college hitter. They've only drafted 4. It was Danny Peoples. There was like Rick Cerrone, the catcher. I can't remember who the other ones were. But
and the last one was Carson Tucker, who was the last high school one.
High school kid.
Worked out great.
Yeah. So I don't think they're going with right hand. I don't think Hacopian gets there. And honestly, I don't think Hacopian's their type of guy because he's, as you said, we're not sure about position because he was hurt. He had some great batted ball data. He performed well in the SEC. But Cleveland takes gambles in round 1, and he's not a gamble.
He's not a ceiling guy.
They're going for some high ceiling players. It's like Jace Lavalette is a pick I didn't like. I was very on Front Street, and I explained why I didn't like it. And, we'll see how it works out in the end. I want to be wrong. I always want to be wrong in that situation. But I think they want to go for more ceiling. I do think, like I said, in my mock, I had Bo Lawrence. No one else has had that one. I do kind of like that there. I do feel like in the past they've gone with prep when they've had that pick in the late teens, early 20s. Now the prep hitter group isn't as deep. The other guy I think could be interesting is Tyler Spangler, just because he was set to be a top 10 pick in this draft and he hurt his back and hasn't played all year. If you want to take a big gamble on an injured player, that is what the Guardians do. Taking big gambles on up the middle injured players with all-star upside. That would be a very Guardians-esque selection. And then MLB, to step on your toes little, they had a mock. It was pretty chalky for the most part. And they had Cleveland in this mock taking Jared Gridlinger, the outfielder / left-handed pitcher from Huntington Beach. He is a big old ball of clay. We had this discussion off air. We don't know. Is he an outfielder? Is he a starting pitcher? I always say, no, don't try someone. He's the guy I would try as a two-way player. Honestly, I don't know what he is right now. Elite contact skills, but not much power. But he's also pretty skinny. There's mechanics aren't the cleanest as a pitcher. Secondary pitches need some development, but there's also some stuff there. I don't know what he is. He's a ball of developmental clay that could make sense in that range. And then, we didn't talk about it earlier, just got to throw this in. One of the things that's going to be interesting to watch is Logan Redemann's going to throw at the combine in a few weeks.
It's next week, isn't
it? This week. And, here's a guy who, if he's all of a sudden healthy, that's another guy who's going to go in the top 20 somewhere, probably in the top 15. And that means a chance someone else, gets knocked down to Cleveland. I don't know who that's going to be, but whoever that is, that's who they're going to take, because they always take the player who slides. So I'm curious to see at the end of the day who is there. I would lean prep for them or, an unbelievable sliding talent.
Yeah, I agree. Callis connected them to Ace Reese, who you and I both like a little bit. Trevor Condon, who you've been looking at recently. You're a little higher on him than I am.
I am. Yeah.
Sawyer Stroh-Snyder, who we both think just doesn't quite fit. I guess the ceiling is there. But he had a weird year.
He struggled in the Big 12, which is weird.
And then he also connected them to Cole Prosek, who is a older kid, but he's a third baseman catcher. He probably won't catch in the pros, not for Cleveland, but I really like the swing and the bat. I think he's going to hit. So they also don't take older players. So
Sawyer Stroh-Snyder hit to 229 in the Big 12, which batting average probably matters more in college than in the pros in terms of evaluation of players. So that's not great. That's why he's not in my top 20 players, even though he's got one of the best speed to power ratios in this draft. It is what it is. We'll discuss all that more as we go on.
Yeah. So next week will be a little interesting. Jeff might be solo. I'm going on a family vacation to the Outer Banks. I will jump in if the family isn't doing anything and I have time to record and I'm not getting in the way of any family activities. But if not, Jeff will be here solo with you, talking guards, draft, a lot more. And if any big news happens, of course, I'll jump in. We've got Guards Astros series. We still have to talk about our trade tiers. There's a lot more trade deadline talk. There's a lot more draft talk. We'll do a mailbag here soon as well.
Yeah, I'll be kind of on my own. Maybe I'll draft Tennyson in since people liked her so much. I'm kidding. But thank you all for joining us. And go Guardians, go.
Mr.
Denslow.